Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Bassi. Good morning, Vimbai. Good morning, Rifai. Yeah, we're shades of, almost there. Oh, yeah. We don't have time, we have to rush to this thing. You started.
I marry when I
want to. Don't rush me. All right, so the big news is that the Court of International Trade, the CIT, has blocked Trump's reciprocal tariffs. They disagreed with the use of the IEEPA, which is the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. They basically said you cannot justify it using trade deficits because the United States has run trade deficits for years. Or however, auto, steel, aluminum tariffs, basically industry tariffs will remain. The White House has said it will appeal. Let's quickly go to a quote from the CIT where there was an excerpt from their ruling. 3 judges, usually it's 1 judge. This is an Article 3 courts. They've got the same jurisdiction as other district courts across the country. The worldwide and retaliatory tariffs do not comply with the limitations Congress imposed upon the president's power to respond to balance of power payment deficits. The worldwide and retaliatory tariffs are thus ultra vires, which means that you have extended, you've gone over your power, and contrary to law. This lawsuit was brought by 12 attorneys generals. One of them was the Attorney General of Nevada, Aaron Ford. I'm extremely pleased with the court's decision to strike down these tariffs. They were both unlawful and economically destructive. The president has no legal authority to impose these tariffs, and his unlawful actions would have caused billions of dollars of damage to the American economy. White House spokesperson did respond to that. This is Kush Desai, I think is the deputy spokesperson for the White House. It is not for unelected judges to decide how to properly address a national emergency. The administration is committed to using every level of executive power to address this crisis. Wall Street has given its verdict and the futures are all up. Has anyone heard of the taco trade? A taco is a tortilla with meat inside, Viva la Mexico. But in this case, it stands for Trump always chickens out. Apparently, it was a writer at the Financial Times that brought this up. So it's spreading on Wall Street. Basically, Trump announces a tariff, stocks fall. So the traders buy the stock knowing that he's going to chicken out and that the stocks will now rise and they profit off of that. So he was presented with it at the White House and he didn't react in a good manner when the question was posed to him. Here it is.
Mr. President, Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country. And because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, and they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. And I said, OK, I'll give you till July 9. I actually asked them, I said, what's the date? Because they weren't willing to meet. And after I did what I did, they said, we'll meet anytime you want. And we have an end date of July 9th. You call that chickening out? But don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. Go ahead. To me, that's the nastiest question.
Nvidia's first quarter earnings beat analyst estimates. It was very healthy. I mean, we pretty much expected it. The key thing here is look at the China curbs, or rather, H20 curbs to China. Because of the curbs on the U.S. administration not allowing them to export that, they basically said that they were going to take a charge that should be $4 billion actually, $4 billion charge there. The curbs for Q2 we're going to amount to $8 billion, which is in the current quarter that we're in. The basic story here is that the hyperscalers, the Amazons, the Microsofts, the Metas, the capital expenditure that they're spending on artificial intelligence is actually flowing through to Nvidia's earnings. And Jensen Huang is also saying that there should be no there should be no export curbs on there should be no curbs on exporting of chips to China. But Nvidia did pretty well. 73% growth in profits, 73% growth in data revenue, and I think 70% growth in top line revenue. Beauty industry, for any man out there whose girlfriend or wife says, baby, I need to do my skincare. Big multi-billion-dollar industry. Elf Beauty has bought Rhode Cosmetics. Rhode Cosmetics is owned by Haley Rhodes Baldwin. She is not Haley Bieber. She is the daughter of Stephen Baldwin, and she's the niece of Alec Baldwin, and she's married to Justin Bieber. She started this company in 2022. They bought it for $1 billion. Look at the details of this deal. $1 billion deal, they get $800 million upfront. $600 million of that is in cold US dollar cash. You'll pay taxes on it, but they get $600 million upfront. Then the remaining $200 million of the $800 million is in stock. The balance of $200 million is going to be based on the performance of the company over the next 3 years. A massive deal. And by the way, ELF, 75% of its market is in China. China leads the way when it comes to the beauty industry. Cyril Ramaphosa was being grilled in Parliament. When you see how the opposition works in the South African countries, it's amazing. He was saying, I'm being abused, to which one of the EFF MPs responded, did you say you were being abused when you were in the White House? Now you're going to come back to South Africa and tell us that your own people are abusing you. Take a look.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I must tell you,
Deputy Speaker.
I feel
Deputy Speaker.
I feel abused.
Deputy Speaker.
I really do feel abused.
Can you please
You didn't feel like that when Trump was abusing you in the White House. Why didn't you feel abused in the White House? You're abused by your own colleagues in South Africa.
I'm here to
They
answer
abused you in the
questions.
White House. You come to call abuse here. It's wrong what you're doing, President.
Honourable President,
You were
my
abused with
apologies, but,
disinformation
there's
in the
a
White House. You
intention
accuse
to
us of
disrupt
abuse.
proceedings this afternoon.
No,
Honourable
no.
Matiasi.
Yeah, there's also a skit of the White House visit from Ramaphosa to Trump. It's the whole ecosystem. There it is. They have a guy wearing a white hat. That's supposed to be the guy playing Ramaphosa. South Africa has just exploded with this whole thing. Finally, look, I don't have much to add on Nigeria with the 2 years of the Tinubu administration. I've repeatedly showed you guys corporate earnings. The investors, praising the 2 years of the Tinubu administration. I know that inflation is still high. Nigerians are still facing high cost of living. Transition, as Vimbai said earlier, they do take time. But with all the earnings I've shown you, from the fast-moving FMCGs to the telecommunications to consumer goods, industrial, and so on, the rebound is apparent when you look at corporate earnings. And it's been 2 years of reforms. There's still a ways to go.
But the sad reality, Rotus, is that the market does not determine where the lives of Nigerians are, corporate earnings. If you check how many Nigerians own stocks in those companies, they are such of a very paltry amount. I'm not sure they are part of the over 130 million suffering. The 2 years has been that of a lot of pain. I must tell you. I work with a very poor in society. It's not been easy. Livelihood eroded, everything hard for them. Real quickly, but I'm not surprised. Look at Rihanna. Was a musician.
Fenty, right?
Fenty. For over how many years? She didn't become a billionaire from music. He became a billionaire from beauty product. Look at one of the Kardashians.
Yeah.
Became a billionaire. It's a gold mine. And it's a kind of industry that we'll tap into. But the question is, what support is government giving to our own here? I know we have Tara. I know we have Zaron. These are people that if government gives them support here, we can make Tara and Zaron into global brands. This to show you the kind of market. I yield the floor.
Okay, very quickly on the beauty industry, they say, I don't have empirical facts, but this is one of those old folk tales in economics, is that the beauty industry is the only industry that experiences a surge when there's a recession because women want to rush out and look their best because the economy is hard. I think they call it the lipstick index. The harder the economy gets, the more women need to, put their best foot forward because, your destiny helper could be out there. That's on a side note. In South Africa, we can make light of it, but the issues there are very real. Indeed. Because if you look at some of the changes that are happening, Dr. Abati alluded to it earlier, are you going to transform an entire affirmative action law to accommodate one man and his spaceships and his Starlink and his satellite and his... So, it's a heated debate because black economic empowerment is still a work in progress in South Africa. So to now just wake up and say, we have to please Starlink and to start tinkering with that, it's going to be a long time coming before they reach any middle ground on that.
Okay, very quickly, Taco. Trump always chickens out. Trump, in summary, said no, he doesn't chicken out. That his moves are called negotiations. In other words, he's negotiating. And we've said it many times that he just does this flip-flop because he wants to negotiate. Now, the three-man Federal Trade Court, U.S. Federal Trade Court, says that the International Economic Emergency Act 1977 does not give Trump powers to act unilaterally. That was the position. And we've seen the effect. Oil prices have appreciated. WTI went up 1.06%. Yep. Brent crude went up 1.22%. Asia market that you reported on Monday was mixed, flat on Tuesday, appreciated on Wednesday, even did better Thursday morning. Whether it's the Japan Nike 221, India's Nifty, Australia S&P AXX 200, or South Korea's Kospi and the small cap Kosdaq. Yeah. You know, they all appreciated on account of that. Bank of Korea has gone down. They decided to cut rates 25%, from 2.75 to 2.5%, which is the highest cut since August 2022. Right. But they have political uncertainty as a result of the political crisis they have in December. And they are also trying to look at what is happening with tariffs in the United States. Those are the major issues. But thank you very much.
Thank you.